like to have a red wine, and a cabernet sauvignon is really the best full body type of wine for a meal like a steak. My name's Tracy Miller, and I'm actually Jill's sister, so I agreed to do a little lesson on wine and serving wine and how to pair it with your food a little bit. So again, we're going to have a cabernet sauvignon, and that does not need to be chilled. It can be at a steady temperature when you're storing it, which is why we use our wine vault. Otherwise, if you're just bringing it from the store, just drink it room temperature. So to start to open it, you might use something like this. This is a bit of a seal ripper here that you would just kind of put around the edge of the wine bottle and crank it around to kind of open up that seal. But really, if you have a corkscrew like this, and this is my favorite, it'll come with a little knife like this. Use that knife to just kind of dig in there and strip out that top. This happens to be a very nice bottle of wine, and it's well sealed. I'm happy to see that the cork looks good. It's not too mushy. There are a couple other kinds of corkscrews that when I do classes like this, I always talk about. This is sort of your cheapest brand. This is the thing that you buy at the convenience store sometimes, or just at the counter when you're buying something from the liquor store. So it definitely works. You kind of create this handle, you can just screw it right in. If you do have that special occasion, you brought out a really nice bottle of wine, you may want to use a fancier one like this. It's quite elegant. It actually has these two prongs. And those prongs need to sort of go alongside, and you work your way in there and pull up the wine cork that way. But I think I'm going to show you the really practical one, the one that's worth really investing in. So we have that little knife that we've already used. We're going to open it up, and you'll find that corkscrew hidden in the middle. I'm going to make sure I give myself some leverage, bring it close to my body. You can see there's these two different hinges. There's a hinge here, and there's also a shorter hinge kind of up a little bit further. So let's work our way in there. Start right in the center. It's always fun to get it started, but once you do, just crank it on in there. It's a good sign, that squeak. We're going to use that shorter top hinge. Actually, all right, and then when you're on the second hinge, pop it right out. We've got a nice moist cork at the end there. This is where you might want to smell it. If you don't know what you're smelling for, if it's gone skunked or bad, it's going to smell really musty. So that's kind of what you're looking for. Now this is an older red Cabernet Sauvignon, and so often there's some dirt kind of in the bottom. It's kind of sediment that's settled, and that's actually a really good thing to have. But what you want to do is decanter. It's not just a way to serve the wine, it actually has a property to it, and what it's going to do is really aerate or open up your wine. And so you can see it's got this kind of funky shape here, and that's all designed, again, to aerate your wine. You can see where it's kind of pouring down the sides. That's introducing all of that aeration. The way it's shaped is also going to give you some of that gravity to put that sediment towards the bottom. You never know when you open up a bottle of wine what you might get. So we'll see how much sediment we have in there. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about glasses while this is still breathing and opening up. For a good red, you really want a large glass. And you want the bottom of it to be kind of bowed out a little bit. And that's really because when you drink it, it's going to tilt, and the smell is always the start of your taste, right? is going to reach your nose at the right point, and it's going to hit your palate at the right point on your tongue. That's why wine glasses are so important. Now, if you haven't invested in these huge red wine glasses, that's fine. You can get a smaller one, but look for something with a similar shape to it, like this. You also, because you don't want to necessarily heat it up, don't do the old-fashioned swirl like this. Hold it by the stem. Okay? Let's talk about some of the other wine glasses, okay? If you have a Pinot Noir, which is also a red, Goodwood Turkey, so it's still a full-bodied poultry and you want to have a red with that, you might look at a glass more like this. So this would be your Pinot Noir, even your Merlots would be good in that type of glass. For your Chardonnays, so Chardonnays, seafoods, chickens, just a great wine in the summer, really. I tend to drink more white in the summer. You're gonna have more of a glass like this. So if I put it down next to this one, you can see it has a different kind of slope to it, and it's shaped a little bit differently, but it could be pretty close to about the same size. Finally, a very small glass. Okay, so if we compare it to this one, it has a column to it a little bit, and it's definitely smaller. That would be for what I have here is a sauterne, so it's more of a dessert type of wine, or a port, something that you would have after dinner with dessert. This would be great with strawberry shortcake in the summer. So let's just kind of put these glasses out in front of their bottles to give you an idea of the differences. All right, so pouring. We have our decanter here, and if you don't have a decanter, this might be a nice, easy investment. Also nice to put in the picnic basket in the summer. You can simply put it on top of the glass and pour it right from the bottle, and it'll do the decanting for you. But if you are having a nice steak like we are tonight, and you want to pour a nice glass, and you feel like being fancy, pour a little bit out to give yourself that first smell and that first taste. You can swirl. Again, we're holding it by the stem, and we're gently swirling it, getting some more air in there. If you're nervous about that, an easier way to do it is put it on the table, put your fingers around the base, and just do gentle circles on the table. Okay, we're gonna pick it up. I always smell it first. Actually, it smells delicious. And then we're gonna take our sip. I'm gonna let it slowly go down my palate. Now when Ron does it, he makes this horrible sound that I can't do. But it's, again, it's still aerating it a little bit more, putting it across your tongue. So let's do this again. Wow, it's fantastic. Another little trick, when you're swirling, you can cover it a little bit. That's gonna trap all those smells inside the glass, and then they're all gonna come up, and it's gonna be a beautiful experience. So if you're having a steak tonight, open up a bottle of red, and I guarantee you will be very happy with yourself. Hi, Ron and I just had a delicious steak dinner with a couple glasses of wine, and now we're kind of cleaning up, so we're gonna need to clean out our decanter. So you can tell, you can kind of clean it by, just kind of putting some water in there and swirling it around and getting it all the sediment in the bottom picked up and things like that, and pour it out. If you need to do it a couple times, just keep doing that. But then, how do you dry the inside of it? You can use one of these types of devices. It's sort of this long absorbent stick that's sort of bendy, and you're just gonna get it in there, and you can see you can get down on the bottom. You might need to kind of bend it around a little bit to get the sides, and that's gonna absorb all of that moisture inside, and that's how you're gonna dry it off. Now, it doesn't happen very often, but if you don't finish the entire bottle and you use the bottle, you might jam the cork back in there. You're still gonna have air in there because everything's been kind of exposed to the air at that point. You might get something clever like this little device. This goes over the top, and you're gonna pump it to kind of suck that air out. But if you're really preserving a nice bottle of wine, you can also use the fancy tool. And this is an argon device that you're actually gonna put a stopper in. So this is gonna create the new cork for you. You're gonna inject in the top and just use that gas to fill in that space. And then you just leave that cork on, and when you're ready to have that second half of the bottle, you're just gonna pop it back off and have that second meal. So the end of the night is not complete until we sit down by the fireplace with our cognac. For cognac, it's an entirely different type of glass. It has more of a bowl at the bottom of it, and you can absolutely wrap your fingers around it, because in this case, you want the cognac to be a little warm. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna sit down and have a nice glass of cognac. We will see you next time Jill asks me to do one of these. Take care.